I'm sure you feel this way. Like every once in a while, there's a script you read where you're like, I know I have to do this movie. And so I read it, I finished it. The ending is really, really particularly interesting in this movie, I think. And I closed it, and I was like, yes, please. How do I sign up? I just felt I knew immediately it was the next thing I was supposed to do. I play a woman who is a kindergarten teacher, and also an artist, a poet, and nobody is seeing her at all. Nobody's hearing her work. Nobody cares about it. And she's, like I think many women right now, we meet her at the moment where she's waking up to the fact that she's really not satisfied with what her life is. And she's starving. And she goes down a really problematic and questionable path to try to feed herself, which is basically that she hears a child saying what she thinks are poems, and she takes those poems and she gets kind of obsessed with him.
I think I finished reading it and I met the director, and we started to talk about poetry and started to talk about, the character that I was being invited to do, and it sounded like a really good idea. I mean, like something that was fun, that was, I don't know, that kind of got it, in a sense, and also very curious to be in for the ride to see what, what's going to happen with that accident. It's always an accident, no? When putting films together, no? Like you put it in there, and then the elements work, and some alchemy comes out. So I was pretty excited to be part of it.
For me, I have worked with a lot of women directors and writers, and my mom's a screenwriter, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the work is feminine. I think because we live in a world that is so masculine, and I think as we're, even if we wished it were something else, we're realizing also still so misogynist. I think women have not always been able to express themselves really freely and entirely. And I am really interested in what it means to make and to see and to identify feminine filmmaking. And I think The Kindergarten Teacher is that. The trailer, which I think is awesome. Someone said to me on a talk show the other day, what is it? Is she good? Is she bad? Is she like, I can't quite place it? Is it a thriller? Is it this? Is it? And I was like, it's really interesting. I think it's something new. I think it is a thriller in a way. It's a psychological thriller. You're inside the mind of this woman. It's terrifying, not because a monster's going to jump out at you or like there's blood everywhere. There's not. It's terrifying because you're watching the consequences of starving a woman's mind. And you're watching the consequences told from the point of view of a group of women. So we're not like, oh no, it's okay, it's not that big a deal. We're like, no, the consequences are dire. Look what is possible if you starve a woman's mind. There was something singularly new and feminine on this set. And actually the Gael chapter, when Gael came in for a few days, and we it was a teeny movie, like tiny movie, and we shot everything 22 days. So all of Gael's beautiful work was crammed into like 2 days, was different because you were there, because of your masculine energy.
And I had to be like the teacher, the one that kind of like set the... No?
Yeah. I mean,
so
it had like such a different tone in such an interesting way. Yeah.